Hello, welcome to Math 13 for the summer of 2024. My name is Greg Perkins and I'm the instructor for this class. So first we're going to take a look at the syllabus here, my contact information, gperkins@hartnell.edu. I am going to have in-person office hours, so you don't have to come to these, but if you need help, you want to come and work with some other students, then that's going to be on Mondays from 5:30 to 7 in the Rotarium. And let me just open up a little map and show you. So this is the main campus. And here's the administration building, the library, and if you go to this main parking structure, the 3-story tall parking structure, and you walk out, right where that red arrow is pointing, that's building N, and there's a big open classroom type study space where probably 20, 25 students could fit in there. So that's where I'll be on Mondays at 5:30. Okay, since this is an online class, then we will have online homework using mystatlab.com. Towards the end of the video, I'm going to describe more about that in detail, but right now, just an overview of the class. So you are going to need a Texas Instruments TI-84. Looks about like this, and you could buy one if you want. You could borrow one from a friend. You could also just check one out from the library. Let's go over to the Canvas page. So I'll leave this link right here on the home Canvas page. So whenever you click on this home page, you'll see, well, what's due next? And then there's this link. So you do need to be logged into your Hartnell Gmail account in order for the link to work. But if you do, you just fill it out, and it's not renting, it's borrowing from the library. So it's completely free. So you can use that for the whole summer. All right, now back to the syllabus. So if you look at how your grade is determined, 20% of it is going to be that online homework. Everything else is stuff that I've made up. So there are chapter reviews. There's also Math 13X practice problems. The X stands for extra. So I just got a grant to make these up. So there's a video, you watch the video, you do examples just like I did. I'll show you in detail in just a moment. And then there's a project 1 halfway through the class and a project 2 at the end of the class. And if you do the chapter reviews and you do the Math 13X practice problems, the projects are going to be just like that, just a little bit longer, but it'll be just like that work. So you do need to, for the chapter reviews, the Math 13 and the projects, you do need to handwrite those. Since it's math, it's very difficult to type. So please handwrite those. So if you, once you handwrite it, then you will need to create a PDF. You could use a tablet or whatever and write on there and then just upload it. That would be fine also. Or physically write it out. So on the second page, this is very important because this is all of the assignments for the whole class. So basically there's something due every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. On Wednesdays, it's going to be the Math 13X problems. Every Friday, that's when the online homework is due. And for this class, we do have to cover 12 chapters, and there's 6 weeks. So you guessed it, that's going to be 2 chapters per week. So on Friday, June 28th, the first Friday, that's when chapters 1 and 2 homework are due. And that's on the MyStatLab. Sometimes they call it My Math Lab because that's what they call it, but it's also called MyStatLab. So that's done on the MyStatLab website. And then the chapter reviews will be due on Monday, the Math 13X problems on Wednesday, then the MyStatLab homework on Friday, and it just keeps going through just like that. All right, now let's go take a look at the Canvas page. All right, so this is the home page, and then if you go over here and click on modules, you will find that first of all, there's information like directions for the TI-84, but if you watch my videos, I'm going to show you how to use the TI-84. And then some tables that you'll need later in the class. Also, these things I show you how to do if you watch the videos. So, all right, so for each and every section, there's going to be notes, which are in PDF form, so you could take a look at the notes and read those. And then based on these notes, I have a video for each and every section. So you could read the notes and then you could watch the video. And this just links to YouTube. Hi, my name is Greg Perkins. Hi. So then you could watch the video there and take a look at the notes, and then you'll be able to do the homework and the chapter reviews. Okay, now there's also the Math 13X problems. So in here, the first Wednesday, so that's just the third day of class, you'll need to finish the problems 1 through 6. So you go to assignments, and I'm actually very excited about these Math 13 problems because it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, but it took a lot of time to prepare, and a grant paid for me to do this. And now this is the first class where I'm fully using it. I used it towards the end of last semester and it was successful as sort of a test. And now we're going to use it in full. Okay, so basically I went through from the very, very basic, just percents and fractions and decimals. And then as we build up through the semester, there's a total of, I think it's 27 or 28 of these in total. And so basically you just click on it, and then there's going to be a video. If you want to see the questions that I'm working on as I do the video, you could do that, but you just watch the video.
Hello and welcome to Math 13X, our very first video, lesson 1. My name is Greg Perkins and I'm going to be your host.
So basically, I show you how to do each of these problems, and then you would do the practice. So this was lesson 1, and then you do the practice questions. And they are basically the exact same questions. All I did was change the numbers. So you could even follow along with the video and even write out your solutions here as I'm doing number 1. And of course, if some of these are so easy you don't need to watch the video, of course, that's up to you. But as we progress, you really should watch the videos to see how I use the calculator. And basically, with these videos, I'm saying this is the very least you need to do in order to pass this class. You need to know how to do these things in these 28 videos. So you could even, like I say, you could have the video playing. After I do number 1, you do number 1. As I do number 2, you do number 2. Because all I do is I just change the numbers. So it's not going to be that challenging, but I'm going to take you through all the basic things that we need for this class. All right, so once you do that, and so let me just go back to the video real quick. And so basically, see, I show you also how to use the calculator. And so basically your work would look like this, and then you would create a PDF and then upload it. So right now it is actually June 9th, so the class hasn't started. So if I click on Student View, oh, I didn't think it would show it to me. Okay, so this is what it would look like for you. So it's just pink because it's saying that's the student view. And then there's the video, and then there's the lesson 1 where you would do the work. And when it says start assignment, then you would just submit your assignment and then upload it here. Okay, so, oh, hold on. I need to first get out of the student view. All right. And let me go back to the modules. So there's the lectures for all of the chapters, so that's here under modules. And then under assignments, so this right here, you don't do that because you're going to do your homework online, and then I'm going to fill in your homework grade right here. And then these are all of the 13X assignments. So numbers 1 through 6, that's due on that first Wednesday. What is that, June 28th? And so all of those are already here. And then the chapter reviews are also already here. And the chapter reviews are basically like the 13X problems. And And if you've looked at the lectures, then you'll see me explain how to do all of these problems. So you basically just write out your solution right here, and then these also will have data that you put in the calculator. And if you've been watching the 13x like this, I did on one of the 13x problems. So the dot plot, 13x problems. So a lot of this stuff was already done if you followed along with the 13x videos and also the lecture videos. Okay, so that's the basics of the class. Let me just look at the syllabus real quick. So these dates, so what I do is I keep this file on my desktop so I can just open it all the time and say, oh, what's coming up? All right. So that's a good idea, or physically print it out. Oh, one other thing before we go on to the MyMathLab is with the MyStatLab or MyMathLab homework, you can do it after the due date and you don't need permission. There's going to be a due date. The homework for MyMathLab is always due on Fridays, but you can actually do it after the due date and still get full credit. But for all of the other things that I created, the Math 13x, the chapter reviews, and the projects, all of those need to be turned in on time and will not be accepted late. Okay, now it's time to talk about the MyStatLab. So one thing is, when you go to sign up, you will need this code. So I'm just going to copy that real quick. All right. The other thing is, when you go to sign up, and I'll show you this in just a moment, if you aren't able to pay for it right away, you can click on temporary access. So when they say, submit your credit card information or whatever, you can use temporary access, and then that will allow you to use it for 14 days for free. After those 14 days, if you haven't paid them, they will put a freeze on your account. They will not delete it. They'll just put a freeze on it. When you pay, it's opened up and your work is still there. Okay, so now it's time to go on to the MyStatLab part. So I copied the Perkins 3690, and then you can just go over to Google and say My Math or StatLab, and the company is Pearson. So this looks right, Pearson. And then, oh, sorry, I was practicing before you got here, and that page had logged out. Okay, so then if you have an account with with Pearson, you can just sign in, or you can go student access. And then for this question right here, it's saying, are you use Canvas? But I do not link them, so just say no. And then it says you need the ID, which I copied, you need an email address, and a way to pay for it. And then I'm ready to register. So I then just put in that code that I got from the syllabus, and then continue to register. Oh. Okay, so because the class hasn't started, right now it's June 9th, so then I can't go in there, but okay, what we'll do is we'll just look at the homework. So what would happen is this would just say, okay, here's the class. Is it Perkins statistics? Yes, yes. And then when they ask you to pay for it, you can use the temporary access. Also, I believe whatever the cheapest version is, on the very next screen, it will say, do you want the, I think it's like $130 version, or do you want the $90 version? So definitely get the cheaper version. If you have a voucher at the Hartnell bookstore, you can get it from the Hartnell bookstore. If you're going to pay for it yourself, the cheapest way is with the Pearson website for $90. Now, it was $90 last semester. If they raised it, I'm sorry, but it should be right around $90, and that would be the cheapest way. If you get it from the bookstore because you have a voucher there, that's perfectly fine. You can do that. So you would just say continue to register, and then if you don't want to pay for it right now, use the temporary access link. Okay, then when we actually get in and do the homework, so here's Math 13 for the summer. And with the home page, I don't really pay attention to that. I just go over here to assignments. And you'll see all of these sections. So chapters 1 and 2 are due for the first week. So that's actually, so each chapter only has like 3 sections. So it's not huge. So there's a total of 6 sections of homework that are due for the first week. And when you go to do the homework, you can just click on that. Hopefully you had already watched my video for section 1.1 and then come in here and answer the questions. Notice that you have unlimited attempts per question. So if you get it wrong, you can try it again, and you can just keep trying it until you get it right. So let me click on one. So when you first use it, it's going to say make sure that you allow pop-ups. I'm using Google Chrome, and so with Google Chrome, up here on the right-hand side, if it's blocking pop-ups, you can just click on that and say allow pop-ups from Pearson. And let me get that homework question back. So this is a multiple choice, and so you've got unlimited number of attempts. Eventually you're going to get it right. Some are going to, of course, take more math. One thing to do is if you have a question about the homework, make sure you use this Ask My Instructor, because they do change questions. Like you and your friend could be sitting next to each other with different computers. Both click on question number 2 and they're going to be slightly different. So if you're going to ask me, then please use Ask My Instructor. That way it sends me a copy of it, and then you can just type in your question and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So I do answer questions from 6 in the morning until probably 8 o'clock at night. By about 8 o'clock at night, then I'm ready to stop, and I'll start answering questions again 6 o'clock the next morning. You also have access to the textbook. So when you click on that, it opens up the textbook. And whenever I use the textbook, which mostly is when people ask me a question and I'm like, where did they get that? Oh, I see what they're talking about, because they got that from the textbook, and they do it slightly different than I do, but yeah, that's not a big deal. Let me just answer that question. Anyway, when I do, I just leave this open, because once it's open, then it's easy to use and go through. And of course, it's an interactive textbook, so there are going to be times when you can click on stuff and it's going to take you to a video that they made, and you could watch their videos. Oops, I just said I was going to leave the textbook open and I accidentally closed it. Okay, so that's the textbook. So when you get a question wrong, which, oops, then try again. So then you get to try again. And you can keep trying until you get it right. Now I want to get to a question that would probably take a little more work. Let's see. Let me try something like this. Yes. Okay, so now they say view an example. So view an example will basically take you through, and they just change the question a little bit. So that they're both about the tax department, but they just changed the words a little bit. And then with this view an example, it basically takes you through the solution step by step. And then after that, you could then close that and answer the question. Now, I don't really like to use this step. So what I do is I say print it, even though I'm not going to print it, because then it gives me the whole thing and I can just look at the whole thing at once. So I don't have to go click, click, click. All right, so that is something that students use a lot and they say is very helpful, the view an example. One other thing that I want to show you on this is if you go to sorry, they changed this. Oh, multimedia library. Sorry, they changed the menu on the side a little bit. So when you go to the multimedia library, you could say, all right, I'm working on chapter 3 and section 3.2, and then you say select all, and then basically they're going to show you everything that they've made for that particular section. So they have all of these videos that they've made, a PowerPoint presentation, video clips, the textbook, of course, some kind of animation. So there's lots and lots of extra stuff that they've made to help you out. All right, so that's the introduction to the course. Please let me know if you have any questions.